It is 5:16 on March 22nd, and I hereby call the meeting of the Finance Committee to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Mays.
Present.
Ms. Lewis.
Present.
Mr. Murphy.
Present.
Ms. Priestley.
Present.
Ms. Winfrey Carter.
Present.
Ms. Burns is not in. Ms. Herkenroder.
Present.
Mr. Pfeiffer.
Present.
Ms. Worthing is not in. You have 7 members present.
There are 7 members present. Is there any requests for changes and additions to the agenda?
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. Mays.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I want an addition for 5 or 10-minute communication about the water settlement that has hit the news in the last 24 hours or so. And then it was one other one. I want to have a discussion about the upcoming budget. My part, I know that's about 5 minutes as well. So those 2 agenda changes I'm requesting.
And that would be after resolutions?
It would be after public speaking and council response.
Okay, I'll order that without objection. So 10-minute discussion regarding the water settlement and 5 minutes on the budget. Okay. Any other changes or additions? Okay. We're now open to public speaking. If any member would like to address the council, you have 2 minutes. First person.
Wait, hello. Is it on? Still ain't doing it.
Oh, it's on now, honey. Thank you very much. Oh, okay. Like I was saying, my name is R.L. Mitchell. I live at 759 East Linden Avenue, by the graveyard by the cemetery on Graceline. Anyway, to you, Madam Chair, to my Councilman Murphy, about this town hall meeting. He invited me to be there on Monday, but I went the other day and got there too early, and the preacher said, "What you doing on my property, sir?" I said, "I was supposed to," yes, I didn't tell Monday, but I got there Monday, and the neighbors, they was hesitant to let me go into church. But when I say, they go to the mayor right there, and they go his bodyguard leaving out before the people's, then she decided to park and go in with me. She said, "I'm gonna just leave you here," because she seen Murphy acting like he came us get the films and stuff straight. Then I said, "Somebody go get Councilman Mays." Then she really said, "No, you got it." But so I just let Mr. Murphy know what's really happened, because he ain't represent the people's good on Laredo and stuff. That's what we was gonna talk about, my vacant lot on 501 East Laredo. But Murphy act like he didn't. But if Mays would have came, he would have straightened everything out, because I said his ward. You see anyway, enough would talk about Murphy. But the situation we're talking about, this police chase over my street, over on Bridgeway, and the kids come out of the club and the po-po running into them and killing them, and got the video, and we got to get to the bottom of this stuff. In Hurley Hospital, since he's here, and the Bishop Jones ought to be put on the board no matter what, because he can't make up his mind to get on the board, because he's the one who can deal with them people talking about keep your black hand off my. He'll deal with that as a man of God, and everybody else is like they won't deal with it, because them people sued Hurley Hospital, and y'all act like it's scared to talk about racial stuff. And kudos to the mayor Weaver, because her birthday, and look what her husband done to my teeth, because I like her,
Thank
like
you.
the mayor. Her husband did this to my tooth, and
Thank you, RL. Your time is up.
oh, my bad.
Next person who'd like to address council?
Can y'all hear me? Okay, how y'all doing? My name is Dante Gullo. I'm a native of Flint, Michigan. I don't go by any word because I've been to all of them. Today I want to talk to the council members about my last time being here and the conversation we had the last time, but we continue to fail the city of Flint. Far more, we're not protecting our people's rights. We violating our rights with the authorities of the police, with the justice system of the court, and y'all turning y'all heads like y'all doing now, which is ironic. But I mean, this is some stuff we need to focus on. The leaders in this city, we got to get involved some way, because we can't have black and white supremacy. Somebody has to do something. And just sitting on our bus is not going to get it. I mean, if y'all really want to help, if y'all want to do something to help, then it'll show. You wouldn't have to say nothing or look for publicity or fame. It'll show. The city is not, it wasn't going that bad, but now it's like, it's scary. If you got to pick what right we get to have. No, we got civil rights, we got constitutional rights, we got liberal rights. You can't tell me what right I can exercise and what right I can't exercise. That's not understandable. It's not acceptable either. And y'all supposed to be representing the people, and y'all failing us. Y'all failing the city of Flint. I'm your ward council right now, Miss Worthy. I'm disappointed. I'm not that intellectual, not smarter than these, this member up here. With y'all heads together, I'm sure it's amazing what we can accomplish, y'all. We just need to stop being so biased and prejudiced. That's all.
Yeah.
Good evening to the chairman and all of the council persons. My name is Pastor Freelon Threlkel Jr. I reside at 214 East Pulaski. I'm a longtime resident of Flint, Flint Central Indian grad, 1960. We beat up on Northern High School every Thanksgiving. But my purpose here this evening, I like to piggyback on the last speaker. Two things. The council as a whole, elected by the residents of Flint, you're not doing what we expected you to do. It's sad that the devil has infiltrated the leadership within our community. Churches, politics, even marriages. And each one of you were elected to represent your district or your area geographically. And I feel personally that we're not getting our just dues. And that's why I came down here tonight. Number two is I understand the House of Esther program. I was hoping to meet some of those leaders that are involved with that. But through the grapevine and the barbershops, I understand that this is an organization that's trying to help pregnant women so that they can have a decent life in our community. To improve our community as elected officials, you all are failing.
I'm sorry, that's your time.
Thank you, my sister.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address council?
How y'all doing?
we blessed to be among the living, the land of the living. I'm Minister Booker T. Stevens. I was ordained up there in heaven. Anyway, there's an issue in this scripture in this Bible. He just told me to read. And it's very important that we get an understanding. The Bible said we can reason and we can get understanding. The little children going hungry. The people on the street is suffering. Sorrow, pain. When I ride the poor man limousine, all I see is sorrow, pain in Flint, Michigan, Bedrock, the ghetto, in the heart of the ghetto. It's ridiculous. And this will be the richest nation in the world. God laid his hands in the beginning when George Washington was president. He blessed this nation. In God we trust. He told George Washington to put that on the dollar bill. That mean green. Anyway, he led me to the scripture, and it go like this. Understand, ye brutish among the people, and ye fools, when will ye be wise? We got to open our eyes and see these the last days. And God is angry. He's angry. What's going on? He sits up high on his golden throne, looking down low. He never sleep. He never slumber. 24/7, 365. He watching what's going on to the poor and neglected. He's fed up. He said, but I'm giving them time. We can sit at the negotiating table and discuss this matter and these issues.
I'm sorry, that's your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Have a
you.
blessed day.
Anyone else like to address the council?
My name is Dave Peachy out of the 4th Ward. I'm here to complain about the land bank again. I read in the article here where the land bank's going to tear most of the houses down in the 1st Ward and the 2nd Ward. Ms. Priestley's got an article in here about nothing's being done in the 4th Ward, nothing. And I'm a little tired of he's always complaining about discrimination. Well, there's a lot of discrimination here. All the affordable housings, everything is being built in the 2nd Ward, 3rd Ward, them wards. We get nothing, and that's discrimination. And Ms. Priestley, I just don't see where you've done anything, help anybody out. And this is really sad, because that, per acre, I'll bet you the 4th Ward is in worse shape than them 2 wards put together, acreage-wise. That's all I got to say. I'm tired of it.
Thank you. Anyone else want to discuss, address council? Anyone else? Seeing no movement, it's time for council response. Anyone like to address the public?
Madam Chair.
Mr. Mays.
The guy makes a point about allocation of resources, the last gentleman who spoke. You know, we have golden opportunity to allocate resources in all wards as it relates to the ARPA funds. This council is running away, misjudging how to allocate these one-time funds. And so I don't always agree with folks, but I'm going to agree on that discrimination as the allocation of funds. But the young man who spoke first, he said the police is abusing authority, council abusing authority. Pastor Threlkill piggybacked on it, and it's being allowed by this council. Even this council is abusing authority. And so it's got to stop. I made a kind of a lightweight promise to that gentleman who said he hadn't been here in a while. I said he would have a special order on one of the committees. Sir, since we've had that conversation, I was in a leadership position. It was took from me wrongfully, robbed, done wrong. And so they setting the agenda now. They don't care about promises made. They setting the agenda now. They even missing the agenda as it relates to the budget. Our auditors told us we do all budgets. The mayor did a presentation. They made a motion not to even discuss that then. And they can't run from it. So what he's talking about, what you talking about, the allocation of resources, the budgets, and the way folk is acting, abusing their power from council to police. Stay tuned. It's going to stop. We got to service the people.
Okay. I will now close a council response and get to my agenda. Okay, can I have a motion for the adoption of the consent agenda?
Point of order.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. Mays. I did forget that. I'm going to take that back. We do have 2 discussions. I am sorry. I did not put it on my written agenda. So we have a 10-minute discussion regarding water settlement. Mr. Mays, that's your order.
Yes, what I want to say, I guess the courts, I've seen on the news, finally approved the settlement. To me, the settlement is going to shortchange a bunch of folks in the city of Flint. Some of us worked hard to bring lawyers in, try to get some stuff done right, and I'm just going to be frank with the residents. In the middle of that hard work, folks in this city voted for Mr. Neely. Gretchen Whitmer won governor. You had 5 or 6 council members who lost their seat, but the people who I'm naming messed up that settlement. They shortchanged the residents, in my opinion. I watched it from beginning to end. I was involved in it. And we were doing great work. They settled for $600 million. $200 million or so the lawyers will take in attorney fees. 80% or so might go to the children. Adults and property owners was capped off in most cases at $1,000. After attorney fees, them checks might distribute for $700, $800. It's a shame and it's an embarrassment. And at the same time that was going on, people dropped the ball on criminal prosecutions. It's an embarrassment. I'll talk about the history of the settlement and call names as to who came in and settled it wrong. The settlement should have been $1.6 billion or more. The categories of distribution shouldn't have put a cap on adults and property owners at 1,000. So I get calls regularly. When will they disperse the settlement? When will they settle the water lawsuit? Well, it's going to be dispersed. Some people will be happy, even in the Legionnaires' deaths. If you were under 30 and died, your heirs could get $1.5 million, maybe $1,900,000 after attorney fees. If you were 60 or 70, you get $300,000. A death is a death. That category of disbursement is messed up. I begged 5 members or 6 members on the previous council not to approve it. Mr. Neely had nothing to really do with it. He was a big advocate of the river, and he agreed on the settlement. Gretchen Whitmer got endorsed by Snyder in that crowd, and she agreed on it. Dana Nessel got rid of Todd Flood and wasted a lot of money in the criminal proceedings. What a mess. So I'm going to say God will continue to look down and bless the residents of the city of Flint. Some of us who fought hard in the water crisis will continue to fight hard in light of all the obstacles and people that get in the way. But I wouldn't let this moment pass by to set the record clear publicly. It ain't what it's supposed to be. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion on the item? If not, I'll close out this one. And Mr. Mays, you have 5 minutes on the budget.
I'm surprised no colleague or anybody sitting here spoke as it relates to the water crisis. I'll see what they do when it comes to these proposed budgets in the presentation that's been presented already by Mr. Neely. You know, they're learning the tricks of the trade, how to extend and shorten time to discuss an item, but the budget is one of the biggest items. Mr. Neely came up here, did a presentation, and they voted abruptly and quickly not to ask any questions. I've never seen nothing like it. I've been around council for over 30 years, and I've never seen one of our most important tasks stifled like that. The auditors told us clearly, if we're going to follow state law, we have to set budgets not for the general fund, but for all funds. We've been presented a budget at this juncture of the general fund, no ARPA funds, no block grant money, so forth and so on. It's a violation of law, and this council is so far has condoned it. Last year, they made no amendments to a projected $15 million deficit type budget. I'll wait to see when the money drops as it relates to the pension funds. I'll wait to see how they try to allocate and dictate time to have a public discussion about all of the funds, and I'll see what happens. I remember a council like this. We ended up under emergency management. This council, some of them been here a little over a year, and you think they've been here 20 years. I was appalled when they voted not to ask the mayor about the total budget and following the law on all funds. We'll see when that subject matter come up. Madam Finance Chair, you were part of it. Amen. When do we plan to talk about the budget in a Finance Committee meeting? Thank you so much.
There it goes again, Amen.
Any other discussion on this item?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Burns.
thank you. I'm going to piggyback off of what Councilman Mays stated because he is correct.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Mays.
my position is that when there's a motion to approve the consent agenda, a motion has been made and properly seconded. Can you show me in these new rules that I'm becoming familiar with that I don't all agree with, but you know I had no part of those rules, where you cannot have discussion on a motion? Is there some in the rules that
Rule
say-
8.4, sir.
And what does it say?
It says, after any separations, there is no debate on approving the consent agenda.
Okay, and that's wrote in the rules.
Yes, ma'am, sir. Excuse me.
Okay, then I would also want to separate 230084.
Okay. All right, so we've separated 230084, 230085, and 230086. And we may approve the consent agenda on a voice vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? No? The ayes have it. Consent agenda is adopted. That brings us to the first separation of 230084. Mr. Mays.
Madam Chair, procedurally, when we separate them, do we have a motion
Yes,
at this point?
Yes, I was going to ask you to do the motion.
Okay, I would move 230084 to council.
Okay, is there a second? Is there support?
Support.
Okay, it's been moved and second. Supported. Any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Mays.
Through you to the engineer, I already see him standing up. I want to address him.
To the chair to,
Now, I'm assuming that she's saying that I can proceed.
okay.
So I'll just proceed. Mr. McGuire, are you listening in? I don't know if this affects you as well, but what I'm looking at, in all due respect to you, sir, I'm looking at these rules, and this is a committee meeting. And when we see something in a committee meeting, it's for the first time. We're approving consent agendas and moving stuff to council with no real discussion. So from this point on, if there's something that I want to know, I'm going to separate them. I wouldn't care if I have to separate everything because I don't agree with the rules as it relates to no discussion on the items on the consent agenda without a separation. You just have to do what you have to do. This is road professional services, and I want you to explain to me what this is.
This is for the new Fenton Road Bridge.
The new what?
It's the new Fenton Road Bridge. It's the construction engineering for it.
And so they charging $261,000 to tell folk what need to happen with this project. And so until they finish, we won't know the cost of it? Or do we already know the cost?
We voted on it last meetings.
How much was that?
The bridge itself is about, I don't have it right in front of me, so I apologize. It's just over $4 million.
$4 million. And so the engineering cost is coming after the project had been approved?
Correct.
Don't it usually be the engineering first and then the project second, or is that not normal?
For the PE, which is the preliminary engineering, it would come first.
The preliminary engineering already came first.
That was the design work that came a couple of years ago.
And so now this is coming. If it was a couple of years ago, some folk wasn't even here. People just rubber stamping stuff and don't even know the details. That's why I ask, because when I see something come, particularly in committee, you see that clock moving. These folks done set up rules where me and your time is combined. And that's really going to handicap the running of this city as it relates to trying to get good and quality information with this majority crowd. This majority crowd is handicapping the vetting of multi-million-dollar projects. They're handicapping the understanding of multi-million-dollar projects, and I can guarantee you this is a perfect example because 6 of them wasn't even here 2 years ago. If I can't demonstrate with this project, I'll never be able to demonstrate how this group is moving. Unbelievable. With 1 minute and 35 seconds left between both of us in a committee meeting, would this be the last expenditure on that multi-million-dollar project for Fenton Road?
I can't guarantee that, but it should be.
And I can predict that answer too, because of change orders for one, correct?
Correct.
When you go into a multi-million-dollar project, it doesn't surprise me when change orders come. It should surprise some of these folks, because I bet you 6 of them, or even 1 of them, haven't contacted you about what was discussed and approved 4 years ago. Thank you, Thank you, sir.
Resolution 230085, Mr. Mays, do you have a motion?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I would move 230085 to council.
Is there support?
Support.
It's been moved and properly seconded to move 230085, agreement, City of Flint Police Department, Genesee County Prosecuting Attorney Witness Protection Program to council. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, Madam Chair,
Mr. Mays.
procedurally, are we back to 2 rounds now? Or
Yes, sir.
through you to the Chief of Police, Chief Green is in here. Can he approach? Madam Chair,
Yes.
I may proceed.
Yes, you may. Sorry.
Chief Green, the last time you was here and we talked, you left out. And I take my time getting to know people, and when you left out, I was appalled. And I was appalled at your professionalism or lack of professionalism as it relates to the allegation that I'm a cover-up. And I'll give you a chance today when I give you the floor to tell this community whether you right or wrong accusing me of covering up when I was asking you about a lawsuit about a woman, and will you tell whether or not you was living with her? Was you covering that up?
Point of order.
But today,
Point of order.
What's your point, Mr. Murphy?
My colleague is not germane to the resolution.
Mr.
at hand.
Mays, please stay
Thank you.
germane to the motion.
oh, I'm germane, all right, that means relevant. Whenever I address the chief of police and I lay a foundation leading up to this particular witness protection program, and my experiences with the chief, they're no different than my experiences with Mr. Murphy and you, Ms. Priestley, when I'm laying a foundation leading into the credibility of the person who I'm asking questions. Mr. Murphy don't have no credibility with me, and he sure can't read my mind as I lay a foundation. It's like an introduction. He talked about church. We always do protocol. We give honor to God, then we give it to the pastor, to the officers, and so forth and so on. So he can stay in his lane and talk like he wants, and I'm gonna stay in my lane and talk like I've been taught. So you're here now again, and hopefully it don't turn into that mess that you as chief of police stood before me trying to take care of business that people all over TikTok and the states and everybody else is talking about. You think it's funny, but it backfired on you from the calls I'm getting. Now this witness protection program, you called me months ago and said 500,000. If my brain is not mistaken, we approved something for 300,000. I know I'm not mistaken because I talked to you after that approval and you told me it was on the desk of the prosecutor. I talked to the prosecutor's office and they said it was stuck in finance. And so you got witnesses who done witnessed murders, supposed to be protected, and to this point they haven't received a dime or rent paid or wherever they being hid at. It ain't happened yet, have it, Chief?
That's correct.
Not a dime.
That's correct.
That's embarrassing. That's different from what I was told, correct?
I don't know what you were told.
I do, because you told me.
Oh, what did I tell you?
You said money had been approved. It was stuck over procedurally in the prosecutor's office. Then it was stuck in finance. You don't recall any of those conversations?
No, my understanding is that this body, city council, is in control of the opera dollars that we're going to use. So that's.
Let me say this, and I'm sure Ms. Burns will weigh in on it because we did our homework before you got here. Now we're doing another dance, Chief, and you're losing credibility. I talked with you. I'll go stand before God and tell you, are you the one told me it was looking for something out the prosecutor's office? Then it was caught up in finance. I think the October records will say we approved it. Then I'm hearing the mayor and council people and others talking about what the council holding up. What is this, a pass the buck, blame city? I think not. I just think we got some folks in certain positions who ain't got good memories or is not credible. And I was trying to take you off the list, but you seem to be digging yourself a deeper hole with me. They tell me, Mays, you talk to the chief of police like that. The chief of police talk to me like that. Really? Your mouth ain't no prayer book, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Deuteronomy. So now this is an amount for $350,000. Will that make it $650,000?
No, that's, the 350,000, I believe, is for the cold case unit. 300,000 is for witness protection.
That's the,
300,000, you're right.
that's the time. the
Yeah, I
time for
looked
the
at
first round.
one letter. I'll wait till my second round if you don't run out and disappear this time. Yeah, Madam Chair. Now, what's the rules on this discussion? Do you know yet?
3 minutes.
Chief, I'm listening to my colleagues, and I'm listening at the arithmetic. Through you, Madam Chair, to Ms. Donahue, the clerk. Ms. Donahue, I want you to look at the record of October of what, last year, Ms. Burns? And I want you to see if we approved 300,000. And I want somebody to tell me if we did approve 300,000, with this 300,000, that's 600,000. Now I'm hearing another 100,000, that's 700,000. So you can shake your head, Ms. Priestley, if you're shaking it based upon how I add, but that's some easy arithmetic for me. Because I know
Point of
for a
information.
fact that when we approve certain monies,
Does the speaker know there was one 300,000 and then one 100,000, which is a total of 400,000 total?
what is this 300,000?
This is from last year, October 24th, and it's finally coming forward.
We didn't vote on it last year?
We did.
So what happened to that 300,000?
It had to be authorized. We're in the process of that. October 24th, that was voted on.
300,000 and 300,000 is 600,000.
No.
100,000. So
If I may, if I may.
let me do it this way under y'all rules. A point of information is a quick inquiry. I can answer it or address it or not. This is a committee meeting. In the old days, Pastor Threlke, with Chester Simmons and Woody Etherly, we didn't have to be under these restraints of talking to each other and putting our heads together.
Point of information has been called. but-
Stop the clock or something. This is ridiculous.
Are you aware that we allocated, but this is actually expended?
Are you aware that I'm gonna get to the bottom of that? And are you aware that when we approved 300,000 last year, they could spend it? And are you aware that I'm telling you that I had conversation with a witness fearing for their life?
Mr.
And they
Mays,
was telling me where it was hung up at.
Mr. Mays, we approved $300,000 in the ARPA budget. This is the resolution to expend the money that was in that budget.
Ms. Priestley, did you talk to the chief last year about witnesses? And did you have witnesses come out of hiding asking you for money? And Ms. Priestley,
Start it. What's your point?
Should the clock be moving?
It is now. It was just, I was just directing the clerk to start the clock back up.
Okay, thank you.
it shouldn't be moving when she interrupts. It shouldn't be moving when you interrupt. It shouldn't be moving when Pfeiffer interrupts. And it shouldn't be moving when Ms. Burns interrupts. But if those are the rules, we can live by them. Because I know how to interrupt as well. And so we'll never get nowhere. These are the stupidest, goofiest rules since Kate Fields knew. But y'all made them up. This is a committee meeting. Now, I'm knowing for a fact that somebody was lying to me. Y'all gonna stand here and say the chief was lying if he led me to believe that all he was waiting for was a signature from the prosecutor? You gonna make them residents believe who've been in hiding for how long now, chief, the ones I'm talking about?
I'm not familiar with what you're talking about as far as anyone in
I
hiding.
think you're lying again, because you know. See, you losing credibility with me. Oh, you know, Ms. Burns, you think you know, I think you know. And he said they ain't spent a dime. Now all of a sudden, he don't know who I'm talking about.
Mr. Mitchell, please.
You know, this chief, this is 2 times before me, and I'm just gonna call him either he got a bad memory to be a chief or he lying. That's what I think. And I seem to lean toward the latter. This guy had me walking with witnesses from his office to the prosecutor's office, back to this office. I don't know no other. And he said, I don't know what you're talking about. That's the same thing you said about that lawsuit when I think my information said he was living with that woman. That's 2. One more strike, I might make a motion to remove you for cause.
Mr. Mays, please stay germane to the motion on the floor.
I am germane to the motion, Ms. Priestley. You doing like Mr. Murphy and want to cover up what I think is lies? I believe we had a president that perjured herself, so we got a police chief that I think
Thank you,
lied.
Mr. Mays. That is your time. This is amended motion, or substitute motion to send 230085 to Special Affairs. And this is a roll call vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay.
Nay.
The ayes have it. Thank you. This is Resolution 230086, separated by Mr. Mays.
Point of information, Madam Chair. I'm going to see if the chief, and you, I'm asking you to see, will he be here Monday when we continue this conversation on this witness protection program? Because that's twice he getting out of here, and it ain't been the straight up truth as far as I'm concerned. So I'm asking you a point of information. Can you ask to see if he'll show up Monday?
Chief Green, you have been requested to attend on Monday. Will you be able to do so?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mays, this is your separation 230086, Flint Police Department, Cold Case Unit.
Yeah, I separated this.
Would you like to make a motion?
If I may, I separated this so I could have some discussion. I would move 230086 to council.
Is there support?
Support.
It's been moved and supported to move 230086, Flint Police Department, Cold Case Unit to council.
Madam Chair,
Discussion, Mr. Mays.
if I may, 5 2-minute rounds. Mr. Pfeiffer, he could have waited to his second round to make that motion to cut off my first round in this committee meeting. But just like Mr. Murphy tried to ambush my line of questioning, if that did it, I'll pick it up Monday. But this group, they'll try to stop communications, not get stuff done in committee, cry about how long the special affairs go. They don't get it. Now I'm going to ask about this cold case thing, Chief Green. And with me, you had 2. Who am I? 3 strikes or 3 lies? Maybe I'm wrong, but I know I'm right. Chief Green, is these cold cases just rape cases or a combination of all cold cases?
Mainly the cold cases I'm referring to are homicides.
So these are homicide. What about assaults and batteries or rapes? Are they not included in this expenditure?
No.
So this is just homicide cold cases?
Yes.
Okay, what about other cold cases? Do you need any money for those?
What type of cold cases?
Well, you got rapes.
Well, we have a unit that's handling cold case rapes.
Beg your pardon?
We have a unit that's handling those type of investigations, the Sexual Assault Kit Initiative.
That's correct, and we've approved money for that.
Yes.
So I asked, did you need any money for any other cold cases? I know what you know about that. Is you straight there?
I don't need any cold case money for sexual assault cases.
What
We have
about-
we have a grant for that.
What about assault and battery and felonious assault cases?
No.
What about the one with Murdoch still laying on your desk?
On whose desk? My
Yours.
desk?
It never came through? You
No,
know, I
no.
seen a guy arrested right back here for sending an email to Prosecutor Layton, an elected official. I seen some white folks arrested for threatening the governor. But when we sitting here black on this council, I hope you and nobody else think it ain't funny when we get assaulted in our own community. We can go misdemeanor for talking in a council meeting, but you and Attorney Kim can't issue misdemeanor warrants when somebody assault a black elected official in the city of Flint. You told me at Hasselbrink it was a conflict of
Point
interest
of
for you, didn't you?
What's your
No,
point?
Yes, you did.
no.
Yes, you did.
Excuse me. There's a point of order. What's your point,
Well,
Mr.
tell the
Murphy?
chief to quit talking then.
My colleague in the first ward is talking about Murdoch, and it's his side, and it's Murdoch's side, and it's the truth. So because he's not here, and this resolution is talking about cold case units, that pending whatever has nothing to do with this resolution, and Murdoch is not here to defend itself.
Yes, please stay relevant to the.
Let me say this, Madam Chair.
May I finish my ruling, please?
Sure.
I would like you to stay relevant to this resolution and any discussion about prior cases that are not a part of this resolution. Please abstain from discussion.
I'm glad you said please, because this is an expenditure for cold cases. And if I want to know if it's murders, rapes, assault and batteries, I don't care what school Mr. Murphy did or didn't go to, and I don't care what school you did or didn't go to. I know what relevant questioning is when I'm allocating money for cold cases in the city of Flint. And I know assault and batteries can turn into murder. And if y'all can't connect the dots and see when it's relevant that I'm talking about this expenditure and wasting my time as it literally ticks off the clock with that mess, then I hope we can have some educational classes. Maybe we can go to the Michigan State Co-op and get y'all to understand when I'm allocating money for cold cases, I'm not just gonna look at murders, because felonious assaults turns into murders. And when somebody hit me, my kids or whatever, that's how you get the murders. So I wanna know if he need allocations for other cold cases, felonious assault.
Please continue.
Tell Mr. Murphy that. I mean, this guy tries so hard to block me from questioning this administration, and I'm glad you said continue, because I done got some attorneys now. My freedom of speech ain't gonna be hindered. My constitutional elected rights ain't gonna be violated as I sit in my
Mr.
chair.
Mays, please discuss the resolution.
Look, I got another round, unless it's authoritative. I'm sticking on the resolution, and part of the resolution was that minute and a half you and Quincy Murphy ate up, and I was looking at the clock ticking. Now it's 16 seconds left, and I'll be doggone if you and him gonna play that game when I'm questioning the chief of police. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. It's not relevant. Yes, it is. Go to school and get a dictionary and find out how to connect
Thank you,
the
Mr.
dots.
Mayor.
Got two
It's a-
people part-time that are going to work on 130-something cases.
Mr. Pfeiffer.
Chief, would you be willing to sit down tomorrow or Friday with myself and Councilman Burns and Mr. Edwards, if possible, to discuss further on this?
Yes.
Okay. With that being said, Madam Chair, I'm going to make another substitute motion to send this to Special Affairs so that this can get signatures as well.
I second that.
It's been moved and properly seconded to move, send resolution 230086 to Special Affairs. Any discussion in the
Yeah,
first?
Madam Chair.
Mr. Mays.
Yeah, Mr. Pfeiffer's doing the same thing again, and I tried to give him a clue. You can do that in the second round. Pastor Thurgood, I could make an amended motion to continue to send it to Special Affairs along with an amendment for $300,000-400,000 for other cases. But I ain't finna play the game with these folks. Here you got the chief of police up here in a city, primarily black, high crime, and they want to cut off the discussion on cold cases and only care about homicides. I know this community well enough to know that felonious assaults, robberies, and assault and batteries lead to homicides. If you're gonna cut down on homicides, you don't come up here and play a game on cold cases for homicides. I'm still trying to figure out what happened to Pastor Hart. So I know about homicides and I know about assault and batteries. When Murdoch did that to me as an elected official and Attorney Kim and Chief Green them wouldn't lift a finger, oh, I felt mad. That leads to other stuff. But then when it comes to a council meeting, they're gonna arrest you and go through a trial for trying to speak. And he was sitting right here. I done talked to him twice. The chief of police got me believing twice he done lied to me in my face in front of this public and then tried to call me a crook. So I'll wait till Monday. He already said he'll be here Monday. We'll pick it back up Monday. We'll see if that turned out to be true. Oh, I had an emergency. We'll see, because that's how I operate. He smiled, laughed, but when Ms. Burns and Pfeiffer...
Mr. Mays, please stay relevant to the motion and not about how people are attitudes.
Ms. Priestley, if you don't know relevancy as it relates to a motion that's being postponed...
That is not relevant.
Why are you arguing with me?
I am not going to. I'm giving you your first warning.
Okay, can you stop the clock? While you argue and try to get your toe.
You've been given your first warning.
Beg your pardon?
Your first warning.
I appeal the ruling of the chair. And then I'm going to get up and leave because of...
There's been a motion to appeal the ruling of the chair. Is there support? Is there support?
Madam Chair, I support that because I find relevancy in letting him get his freedom of speech out.
It's been moved and properly seconded to appeal the ruling of the chair. I stand by my motion. The discussion is on sending a resolution 230086 to Special Affairs. It has nothing to do with people's attitudes or how people are ruling during the meeting. Is there any discussion on this?
Madam Chair.
Mr. Mays.
Madam Chair, y'all come in here by design to give me a warning and remove me from these meetings. You can't tell me that getting to the truth and honesty has nothing to do with discussion of policy and dollars and cents. Just because you sat on the executive board of the Republican Party and your philosophy might be different from mine, just because Mr. Murphy is a staunch supporter of folks and his philosophy might be different from mine. You can't discriminate when I'm communicating on how I talk. You might like Trump, I might like Biden. You know, this is getting ridiculous that y'all sitting up here in this black city, white folks, trying to dictate their philosophy on black folks, and the crime ain't as high in y'all area as ours. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. I'm ashamed of you. I'm ashamed of the way you acting in front of the nation and these black folks. Gonna tell me that if Mr. Pfeiffer make a motion to postpone the discussion, I can't say be there Monday and hope you come here without a different attitude, laughing at my questions, but being serious with Ms. Burns now. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. It started with that handkerchief head Negro talking about point of order. That means somebody who covers for white folks.
Point of information.
I knew that'd get it.
What's your point, Mr.
Through
Murphy?
you to the speaker, I'm not sure who he referring to as.
You? I'm gonna make it sure.
Madam President, Chair, he is out of order. And that will be, after this, he need to get another warning and be removed from the meeting. Thank you.
He done did a point of order because you telling me how to talk, and I'm telling him how I don't like him to talk. We know you gonna condone it. We know Pfeiffer, Herkenrode. I'm in the middle of an appeal. I didn't interrupt you, and I see your mouth fixed trying to say something to me. If you want to be out of order and interrupt me, go ahead.
I was going to respond to Mr. Murphy.
Did he do a point of information or
He did a
point
point of order as well.
Okay.
And Mr. Murphy, I am going to allow him to continue speaking during this appeal. If he does it again, however, he may get another warning. It would depend.
I'm going to do it here. I'm going to do it on TikTok. Because if I believe a person is who they is, if I believe you discriminatory in a certain way, I'm going to say it. If I believe he a certain way, I'm going to say it. And if y'all want to limit my freedom of speech, that's on you. I believe, and I'm going to say it, y'all come in here every meeting to try to give me a first and a second warning and to remove me repeatedly from my elected seat. Repeatedly. And you got the fever of removing this black man just as much as Herkenrode, Pfeiffer, and Murphy. Y'all done testified to that. Now here I'm talking for 3 minutes to the chief, and you gonna tell me I'm giving you your first warning because I'm talking about his attitude. I'll talk about your attitude, his attitude, and everybody's attitude.
Thank you, Mr. Mays. That's your time. Is there any other discussion in this appeal?
Yes,
Mr. Murphy.
thank you so much. And while we talking about race, while my colleague in the first ward was talking, he also, and to the listening audience and for those who can hear, he was talking about Murdoch also. Murdoch happened to be a black African-American man, not no one of another race. So while he saying we being discriminative towards race, in this resolution to send this to special affairs, he was not talking about white people. He was talking about a black man that he got into an altercation with at a club or wherever he was at.
Point of information. I'm talking about a black man who assaulted me, sent me to the hospital, and the state police said arrest him. So don't try to fix that up. Are you aware of the details?
That's not a proper point of information.
Are you aware of the details of that?
Thank you, Mr.
That is the proper point.
Go ahead, Mr.
And like I said before when I shined in, Murdoch was not here to defend his side of the story because it's Councilman May's side of the story.
Point of order.
What's your point?
Is this an appeal on a first warning or his version of Murdoch?
Go ahead, Mr. Murphy.
Is he germane? You was the one. Is he germane?
Deliberation, he brought up Murdoch while you gave him a warning. So that's why I'm bringing up Murdoch, since Murdoch ain't here to defend himself. And to the listening audience and to those who want to...
Point of information.
What is your point?
Do you realize I'm here to defend myself?
Go ahead, Mr. Murphy.
He are using point of information to gain the floor and doing it in an improper way, and we wasn't cutting him off. But since I have the floor and I'm saying something that he don't agree with, he want to try to cut me off.
Point of information.
There we go again.
Did I just hear him lie and say he didn't cut me off?
That is an improper point of information. Mr. Murphy, continue.
He just lied.
So what he wants to do is continue to try to get the floor when I'm saying something that he don't agree with. One thing for two and two things for certain. This councilman over here in the 3rd Ward ain't worried about what that councilman in the first ward, and he can call me whatever he want to call me, because it ain't what you say about me, it's what I respond to. And you want to call me all of these different kind of names, and then y'all allow him to say this, and you don't stop him. But if I go, and one thing could you warn,
Ms. Mitchell, I have asked you to control yourself at least 3 times during this meeting. This is your first warning. Thank you.
Thank
Go
you so
ahead.
much. But if Councilman Murphy used this platform and started calling him any other kind of name, what I be thinking in my head, but I don't say because I try to keep myself decent and in order here, it'll be a whole bunch of something else. But if we were somewhere else and we wasn't at city council, I bet y'all 9 times out of 10, I wouldn't be getting talked to like that outside of city council. So I try to keep myself decent and in order here, so I don't go and get in the gutter with people.
What's your point?
So he can just come and come back to the seat?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the rules have been changed.
Point of information, did she get her first warning? And then my point of order, is he threatening me about something happening outside of council in front of the chief? I don't think he want to do that, even if the chief wasn't here.
Mr.
Is
Murphy,
he threatening folks?
Mr. Mays, Mr. Murphy, continue.
Like I said, he keeps coming, getting the floor, and all of this stuff that he doing, what's happening, and what I want the public to understand is, it's 6 of us that's coming together to try to move the city of Flint forward, and because we got these new rules, and he may not like it, the rules ain't what he wants, so therefore...
Point of information.
What's your point?
What happened to the other 3 council members? So it's just 6?
I mean, my time didn't stop while she...
Go ahead.
But since she brought it up...
Please.
Since she brought it up, next time she look in the mirror, she can answer her own
Is
question.
there any other discussion?
Look in the mirror.
Excuse me.
Oh, down.
Is there any other discussion?
So you let that get away.
Is there any other discussion?
Madam Chair.
This is crazy.
Ms. Burns?
Okay, first off, the tone is disrespectful, and that is part of decorum. It's very disrespectful. I mean, Councilman Murphy and Councilman Mays that's just oil and water, and it's gonna stay that way. They're both going to express their opinions. That's just that.
She didn't even check.
And
Mr. Mays, you've already gotten your first warning. We are in the appeal. Thank you.
excuse me, she's
It's-
talking,
There
so
she go.
you need to warn her, because she's not fair to
Ms.
think she
Herkenroder.
does either.
Please
Wow.
wait until you obtain the floor. But this is not in relation to anyone having meetings. Please stay germane to the motion.
Okay, but I need you to warn her also.
Jermaine.
Excuse me?
You guys were having a whole blown conversation.
She's taking the floor. You want to warn
I'll
her?
take the warning. I will take the warning, but this ain't ridiculous.
This is what?
This is ridiculous.
You- Miss-
still letting her
Miss-
talk.
Ms. Herkenroder, this is your first warning as well.
My point is this. There is a different treatment.
No one was elected to be a TikTok performer. Good luck with that. But while you're here, we need to maintain decorum, we need to stick to the appropriate resolution, and we need to make sure that we stay germane.
Point of information. Did she just call me a TikTok performer and I'm a serious councilman? What is that? Is
improper.
that derogatory?
That is an improper point of
You
information.
jealous or something?
Go ahead, Dr. Lewis.
So according to council rules, he cannot take the floor, use the privileged motion to take the floor. So that again should make a way to be disciplined. He should be disciplined because of that. You can't do that according to our rules. So as we continue to move forward with the meeting, you can't ask someone a question, and when someone asks you the question, you call them out and say, give them a warning. You guys, we got to be better than this. Only thing we should be talking about is this appeal. And the appeal is, should Mr. Mays be in this meeting or not? What's going on here with this appeal? Nothing more, nothing less. So I hope my colleagues will vote in favor of the chair so we can move on, because this is embarrassing.
Okay, I'm sorry. So let me do it.
Point of order.
What
We
you-
should not be getting feedback from the gallery.
That's right. That is going to be your second warning, Mr. Mays. So go ahead and, shall the decision of the chair be reversed? A yes means that you are ruling.
I appeal the ruling of the chair as it
We are
relates to
still in
you and
appeal,
Piper.
Mr. Mays.
Well, how did he stop the roll call?
We
When
are
you go,
still-
point of order.
Mr. Mays.
Point of order.
Mr. Mays.
My point of order ain't good as the white man's. Point of order.
What is your point?
When you start a roll call, you can't stop and go back in discussion.
We had not started the roll call. The voting had not begun. Thank
You
you.
hadn't called the name.
No, not a
And your
single name.
discussion go back and forth. You the last one to discuss, or
We are
y'all can go
explaining
back
the
and forth.
vote. We are explaining the
Vote been
vote
here a
under the
year.
no rule. Mr. Mays, the rules have changed.
Yeah, for black folk.
The last I checked, Mr. Mays, these rules are for all people who are members of council. Mr. Mays,
Get him out.
if
Get him out.
you are, I'm asking you to be removed from this meeting.
I'm asking, you ain't gotta ask me. I'm leaving this kangaroo court. I'll show up and we'll all be in court. That's what we'll do.
Mr. Mays.
Assalamu
All right, so the vote is, the question is, shall the decision of the chair be reversed? Okay? A no means that you agree with the chair. A yes means that you do not. Roll call, please.
Mr. Mays is not in. Ms. Lewis?
No.
Mr. Murphy?
No.
Ms. Priestley?
No.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Herkenroder?
No.
Mr. Pfeiffer?
No.
Ms. Worthing is absent. The vote is 2 no, 5 yes.
The vote is no, you mean?
Sorry. 2
Two yes,
5 no.
5 no. The ruling of the chair stands.
Madam,
Yes,
I would
Mr.
like
Murphy.
to make a motion to give him a second,
I already gave him a second move and asked him to be removed.
okay.
Thank you very much.